May the force be with you is a phrase used to wish a person well to overcome a challenge. The invitation in this podcast, May the life force be with you, is to explore what it means to truly feel alive, to appreciate the physical, emotional and spiritual connection to our energy, and finally to understand how this impacts who you are and all that you do. May this conversation inspire you to thrive. This episode of May the Life Force Be With You is brought to you by Moment Company and the Moment Pebble. The Moment Pebble is a beautiful, natural stone, light-guided breathing device and is a unique gift for someone who needs that gentle reminder to stop and take a break, to take moments throughout their busy day and to practice mindfulness. Just head over to momentcompany.co, that's momentcompany.co, and enter the code LIFEFORCE at checkout to receive an exclusive 10% podcast discount.
Hello! I am so excited to be announcing that our guest today is Gareth Hughes, who is, he's described himself as shaman, teacher, and healer, but Gareth is the most amazing shaman. Anytime I have a shamanic problem, Gareth is like my speed dial. He's amazing. And he also holds the medicine wheel, which is a 4-year, sometimes longer training for shaman. So he's got all of these shaman that he's teaching and training. He's an amazing channel, and he is a fountain of knowledge and absolutely one of the most entertaining people I know as well. So I cannot wait to see where this you go.
Absolute pleasure to be here, I'm really looking forward to chatting with you both. This is going to be lots of fun.
So I guess we'll start where we often start, and that is ask you, Gareth, what life force means to you, and perhaps in the work that you do. What does life force mean?
Yeah, really interesting, actually. Really got me thinking about this with May the Life Force Be With You. And I was instead of thinking perhaps from my normal teacher head, I was thinking on a very personal level. What does that actually mean to me? Myself and I, and for me, life force is, I would say, vitality, appetite for life. Wanting to engage, wanting to be part of it, wanting to be interested in it, wanting to know, a thirst for knowledge, for learning, for growth, for sharing. That's because that's what I feel when I feel in a strong, happy space, feeling that life force. That's what I feel drawn to, and when I don't, it's like when I was feeling ill earlier on in the week, I just wanted to lay there and not engage with anything, and that was definitely, I felt that really difference, that wanting to engage as part of life is like the force of life, inside of you, wanting to express itself. And then when that's not there, you just sort of want to lie like a bit of a potato, really. I think I did a pretty good potato impression earlier on this week. Yeah. Bless Steve, he's still potatoing. My partner, by the way. Bless him. Yeah. So I think that's what life force means for me, is that feeling full of life. Feeling full of the expectation, the enthusiasm, but also the determination as well to tackle the big things. You need that life force within you when it's time to make the big change, when it's time to, tackle that moving house or changing relationships and all of that, particularly when it comes to, tackling challenging people, or people that are going through deep issues themselves, we have to feel that enthusiasm, that life force energy, that joy of existence, and share it. It has to be infectious, and that's how we have the strength then to lift them up, So yeah, I think that's how it feels to me.
It's interesting you say that, Gareth, because I had a conversation. We had a previous guest on, Katie, and she talked about having a moment where she felt like no stress whatsoever when she was in a forest for 40 days and 40 nights. And she realized that actually her brain was looking for something to be stressed about, because it's how we get up in the morning. It's how we're pre-wired. We're kind of looking for that survival mode. Our natural instincts kicked in. And I had someone write to me and comment that Katie had said, sometimes a little bit of stress is good. And I loved how you framed it as determination there and vitality. That little bit of something that gets you up and gets you out of bed and kind of gives you that little bit of oomph to do something different in life. And this person reached out to me and said, I completely disagree. No stress whatsoever is good for you. And I thought, no, I think it is actually. I think you do need something, that contrast. And that's what when you said about vitality and contrast and determination, I think for a good, healthy life force, we do need that little bit of our old systems and wiring of fight or flight to kick in. Not severely, but enough to go, yeah, I'm going to go for something different. I'm going to seek a little bit of adventure. And to me, that is vitality. If we have no stress, we would just lie around like a puddle all day, would we not? That's my take on.
Well, yeah, I do think you've got a good point, actually, because I wouldn't necessarily. It doesn't have to be stress, does it? But it has to be engagement. Yeah. And it has to have a challenge element. And if we're just doing the same things every day, in the same way, there's no engagement, there's no challenge. We have to have some things, do things different. And there isn't really, a better place for challenging than the things that scare us the most.
I mean, I would say that, from the people I know that have gone onto the wheel, they normally end up on the shamanic wheel because their life has broken them apart. No.
Yeah.
It's the initiation of the shaman. Most people turn up at the wheel in a complete state. Is that not right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's not anybody's fault. This is just the way that we're taught wrong. So you're taught to deal with stress wrong. You're taught to deal with life wrong. Blah, 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 blah. We're given the wrong language, the wrong approaches to it. And when we try and implement all of these things in our life, of course, it doesn't work. So it all falls apart, and we're left without means of trying to grasp what brings that positive life force into our lives. We don't know how. That's where shamanism can come in, because shamanism can give you a blueprint, a pathway, as many other disciplines can, on how to live in balance with yourself, in acceptance with yourself, letting go of dogma and being actually present in the moment so that you can adapt to whatever circumstances life is bringing you. The resilience is within us, but if we aren't in touch with that, because we were never told it was there or we weren't shown it was there correctly, we can't access it very easily, and that's where the medicine wheel, if you like, the shamanism reminds us of the truth of our existence right down to the very core without getting too deep too quickly, and then we know why we're really here. And if you know why you're really here, then of course you can make the right choices.
And I'm intrigued about that blueprint, because that blueprint or that shamanic structure, within it, and I know this won't resonate with everyone, but within it is quite a lot of stuff about entities. And I'm just curious, from your view, if do entities want our life force energy? Is that what that is about? Is it about the theft of our life force energy
Yeah, well,
within that blueprint?
yeah, I mean, if you want to really think of it, yeah, is you've got to take away this idea of ownership. Okay, it's not your energy or something else's energy. It's the energy of the universe. Yeah, we're all part of one thing. Yeah, so it's all just energy interacting with energy. Yeah, some energies, frequencies are attractive to each other. Yeah, and that's what draws entities to people. Yeah, it's not that they're trying to get the good energy, they're just drawn to the bad. They're drawn to the future, the pain, the suffering, the worry, the fear, the anxiety. That's what they're attracted to, like a magnet. Yeah. So, inevitably they get pulled towards that, and then when they're there, they want to just stay there. And so they will feed those energies. Yeah, this is how you get rid of entities, is by bringing in the positive energy. Yeah, when we live in Aini, the concept of gratitude or joy, thanks. If we truly live in Aini, that is for negative entities that feed on, say, suffering or the idea of being powerless. That's a very, very, very popular one. Yeah, when we're sitting there saying, thank you for my gift, thank you for my life, thank you for this, thank you, whatever it is, it pushes that energy away. Yeah, it's repulsive. So
For
sometimes it
somebody
gets stuck.
that's like, what the fuck is an entity? What would you say an entity is?
Well, have we got like 3 hours now? No, I mean, in a nutshell, an entity is a thought, a lump of consciousness, a lump of thought. Yeah. Okay. And if you like, small ones are just very small thoughts, and big ones are big, powerful thoughts. So a little entity might be, oh, they think you look fat. They think you look fat. Big one sometimes for people, but it's a very small thought. Oh, they think you look fat. Yeah. Others are big, big, big. Yeah. You're worthless. You're disgusting. Everything hates you. They're big, big, big ideas, big thoughts. Those concepts can gain an existence by themselves, sustaining themselves within.
I think they've got a connection. That's why I think they've got a connection to our life force energy, because it's like when they're alive, is when they're powerful,
But it's like if you imagine if you imagine that these things don't have any true root, in the physical world. They're not physical things. Yeah, they haven't got any way of connecting to the power of the physical being that we are. They need something physical to connect to. Yeah, a bit like an app that needs to plug into a power socket to activate. So while they're just existing as a concept, they haven't got any power. But when they sit within us and then start to enact that concept within us, using our endocrine system, our nervous system, and all of these hormonal systems to produce more and more of the stress hormones in our body, it feeds on that energy. Yeah, it's in resonance with that energy. It makes it stronger and stronger within us. Yeah. But always, it isn't just a case of like we're victims to this, and it's really important to recognise this. We don't just wander around like entity can just come and attack you whenever it feels like. There's always a resonance. There's always a part of you that needs that for some reason. Okay, and it may be because it believes that it's no good. Anyway, already believe that because of the way, you were bullied at school, for example, and so it still needs something to make that part of it feel it's true. Yeah, because you developed how to survive through holding that belief. Yeah, that was how you survived in the school environment, was knowing they were after you already. So you developed all those strategies, but now you're out of school, that part of you still going. It needs something to keep feeding it with that idea that it's in danger. That's where an entity can come along and sit right in the middle of that and go, yeah, you are, and it's performing a function for you, as well as it existing within you and keeping its existence within you, feeding on that life or sharing it with you.
As you're speaking, I'm like, it's giving you energy as well. It's getting you the energy of that paradigm or that story. Yeah. It's also energizing that for you.
Yeah. Imagine it like it's sort of like a bit like wearing a badge. Like if you're wearing a badge, it's always got the same picture on it, isn't it? So that's that. I've got my I'm scared of myself badge on. And it's there always wherever you are. Doing its thing, being a little thing on you, reminding you of that constantly, and sometimes it can become incredibly dominating, This is often where people end up on the medicine wheel.
Yeah, I was going to say my next question then was, can you tell us a little bit more about the medicine wheel?
Yeah, the medicine wheel. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful way of approaching initiations into shamanism. Yeah, shamanism has always been, something that you had to experience initiations and training in order to be able to be considered, capable and more often safe to be allowed to do that stuff, and there was always in many cultures, traditions, lots of different ways, they had their traditional cultural way of learning how to be a shaman, and it would be very specific to specific regions of the world, whichever tribe you came from. Obviously here in the West, that all got lost, a very, very long time ago. The last shamans in the UK are way, 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 way back. I mean, it's not the Druids. The Druids weren't shamans, they were priests. Yeah, it's before then. These guys were the shamans, they were called Merlins. Yeah, and that was a job title. It was a job rather than a thing. There's several Merlins. Actually, in the beginning, there's several people called Merlin. It's a job title. And their job was to be the healer, the fixer, the jack of all trades, effectively what we would call a shaman. But all of that has been unfortunately lost. In our culture, we have no direct connection to any of that energy or teachings anymore.
I was just going to ask, why do you think it was lost specifically in the UK? Is there a reason why, that we've lost some of those art skills and legacy?
Well, yeah, very simply. I mean, 2,000 years of dominating patriarchal culture, based on a very, very specific idea of hierarchy and power. Yeah, and that idea of hierarchy and power by its nature excludes that from everyone else. Shamans are people in their power. Shamans are people who don't listen to what people say, they go and find out for themselves. They directly commune with the universe to get the answer rather than listening to what's written down in some book or proclaimed by some leader. So they're always going to be a threat to these sort of dominator cultures. And so they created lies, distortions, beliefs to persecute, alienate and divorce these people. A memory of that was the hysteria around the witch burnings in the Middle Ages, which had very little to do with actual witches, and a lot more to do with money making, but that's another story. It was used as a way.
It's an important story because it's a big wound, with people, and especially people in this culture like from the Western part of the world, it is the big wound that blocks their ability to connect to the cosmos. Like when you teach people shamanism, channeling, that is the wound that comes up.
Yes.
Or for me,
Well, yeah,
like it's the thing that stops people's connection for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's worth just, in my opinion, just, seeing it in that larger cult context. Ultimately, it all comes back to the Roman cult of Apollo, and if you follow the cult of Apollo, there is one God, one light, one way. Yeah. The sun, is the one, and it's all up to the top. And so this has been going on for thousands of years. Our ancestors have been persecuted for hundreds of years for all of these beliefs. It's a huge racial wound. It is. And, but we can release it. We can, that's what the age of Aquaria is all about. Is that we step out of those paradigms and release all of those old stories of pain and suffering, ushering in the new age of true, genuine enlightenment. The return of shamanism is just a natural response to that, and it can't be suppressed. It's going to emerge regardless of whatever anybody does or whatever anybody says, and it's the reason why it went was because of we had to see where that went. We had to see where following this idea of the light, the one, the savior was going to take us. On some level, the earth needed to experience it. Yeah.
We were exploring separation, and that one God and us was the ultimate separation. Like shamanism is not very separated from God and the universe. It's very interflowing and communicative.
Well, as I said earlier on, didn't I? When you said about your energy, I said stop thinking of it as yours. It's not your energy. It's just energy that's shared amongst the universe. There's no separation. There's no bit where you exist and everything else doesn't. Yeah, everything else is in you, and you are in everything else because you're all interacting with each other on every level there could be. And
so I saw a brilliant meme on Facebook the other day that was like, why were we taught to fear the witches and not the people that burnt them alive?
Well, I think the truth is people were frightened of those people. They were terrified of those people because of the power that they had, and it was. But, you don't need to go back to the Middle Ages to see horrible men abusing power very regularly. Yeah. It's been a tradition our culture has held for many, many, many years and continues to do so and to this day, Do
you think that's an entity wound? A wound? Like what is that? That misuse of power in the patriarchy from the shamanic view?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah, I think ultimately it's a hijacking. Yeah, of the protective instincts. Yeah, of the masculine energy. In order to they've been manipulated. The whole value system's been changed completely. This is where I do agree with that idea that, it was, men's aggressive instincts, if you like, were there to protect the family. That's what it was for. If someone's coming to attack your family, you need to protect them, if it's an animal attack or whatever it was, and that's in that context, it's exactly right. And that's where it should be. And, that's what it's for. What they did was they took that whole thing away from men and said, no, you've got to defend the country, which is some
wow. Wow, that's
non-real
massive.
thing. It's not even a thing that really exists. It's an idea. So instead of fighting for something real, which is to protect their family, they're now suddenly fighting an idea. Yeah. Which can be distorted
You
and
see it all the
exploited by
time.
powerful people. Yeah.
That's engaged politically all the time.
Yeah. And so
That's
it's hijacking those naturally protective instincts to keep the immediate family safe, and saying that it's actually this thing that's the danger, and it's this idea attacking this idea that you've got to get upset about. So rather than it only being something that's real, that energy is given to, and the fact that it's also there is there was a place for it in society, if you like. Yeah, back then you had weapons by the door. It was accepted, and would go and practice with them regularly. It would be accepted. It's that's what part of being a man is you take weapons and you hit things with them. It was fine. What we've done now is divorce that completely. So the weapons are all far away in the army. You have no relation to real life. Yeah, no relation to the family unit. And so it's all broken and destroyed. There's no place for it to be integrated in the family. So the men have got it, don't have a way of releasing it safely. I mean, to be fair, it's nothing that I've never really been like that myself, funnily enough. Wonder why. But,
you haven't been pressed. You don't keep weapons at your door.
not
Although,
really. Not really weapons. But the point is, it's just that it was expected. It was normal. There was an element of that there, but it's not anymore.
You say that, but you are like my safe man. Like, you might be incredibly in your feminine at times, but like when you are dealing with heavy energies, entities, like you're so strong and in that masculine power, like true masculine power.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't really feel, when I'm in that space, it doesn't feel particularly masculine, to be honest. I have to say.
But
it's just will.
You're so protective.
When you're in that space with the entities and you're connecting directly, just willpower. Yeah, it's nothing to do with masculine or feminine. It's the bit that's you going no. It doesn't,
My guides say willpower. They say willpower is willingness to be in your power.
Yeah, it's just that determination, that knowledge, and that certainty. That this is not happening. It's not. And I guess that is the warrior energy. It is. And I mean, to be fair, I mean, we were talking about it the other day. If someone started on our little Freya, I'd go bonkers. I would.
Don't say
all
who
those
Freya
people,
is.
Freya's our little dog. So, I'd go so protective. Of course I would. As any of us would. That instinct, that part of us is there. It's not about trying to not have it. Yeah, it's about recognizing it and bringing it home. At the moment, it's been exploited and divorced from us on such an extreme level that, it's become this hideous energy of war. The military is the distortion of those aggressive instincts turned into a machine for killing, which we are seeing as we sit here, on this earth right now, on a level and extreme we've not seen this.
I believe that when there's something that you believe in or something that you love or something that you are fiercely protective of, then you will move heaven and earth literally, and people get superhuman life force levels when they feel under threat. And I just going back to what you originally said before you mentioned the military and you're saying the entity attaches itself to something. For me, it sounded like it attaches itself to fear, and whatever that fear is in you, whether it's to lose something, to give something away, or old trauma that you're playing in your head on repeat, the record is stuck. That's what we always say when we're talking about mindset. Then, when that is threatened, because we feel comfort in the discomfort of the familiar. So it's easier to sit with that pain and that story that we tell ourselves rather than to step out and make a change. But once threatened, then we can all magically find that energy and that will and determination. And I'm guessing, because I want to come back to the wheel and the medicine wheel, is that what you help people unlock? Is that connection they have to the fear, the trauma, the whatever the story is that they're telling themselves that the entity is attaching itself to, and it's about addressing the story, and then the entity has nothing to attach itself to.
Yes, 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 yes is the answer. I mean, that is exactly what we have to do at the start. At the start, you've got to see all of the disempowering stories. And that is the key word, disempowering, taking you away from your own power, and it's without going into the sources of all of them, we have to recognize them all, in literally almost like a list form. And, this has come from this has come from that, this has come from that. One of the initiations of the wheel is you take what we call core wounds, the big things, mother didn't ever tell me she loved me wound, for example, and we create a physical object, a totem that represents that. Actually becomes something, a physical object that we carry with us, reminding us constantly of this story, of this situation, and how it has influenced our lives. And so because it's present with us as an object in our life and we see it, we are recognizing it constantly where it's influencing us and changing it. And it's literally like, it has to be that intensive. I mean, these patterns are deeply ingrained in who we are. They're bedrock of an idea, a sense of self. It's not even enough just to know that there are going to be things. You've got to live it and see it and feel it as it happens in your life, as the trigger comes up. And the wheel helps you by giving you that physical object, giving you that pathway of recognizing that there is energies to help deal with these. We aren't stuck with them. This is why we call in the power animal of serpent one of the most powerful healing spirits. This is where it gets a little mystical in that, it goes beyond the teacher or the shaman or the student, in that you are working with the serpent spirit. The serpent spirit is an ancient archetypal force. Exists within us. If you like, it's the opposite of an entity. An entity is something that comes and feeds on your power. These archetype teacher spirits come and feed you power.
They feed you their life force energy. So when you're in serpent, it's like you have the energy of the life force of the serpent, or the life force energy that is everywhere, flowing through the shape of the serpent or the archetype of the serpent, so that you get the powers of the serpent within you, which is the power to shed skin.
Exactly. We have, every right to those energies. All we have to do is give them permission to come in, and so the medicine wheel is a way of truly giving us permission, in a way that we just have to recognize. We've got so many cultural barriers within us. We need to go through genuine initiation that's recognized and honored and respected by others to truly feel it within ourselves. We are, we don't exist as individuals. We are a collective, and I found, although we can often, you can read this book and read that book and sort of get the understanding in your head. Oh, I understand the concept of an animal spirit. Oh, I understand the idea of projection, or whatever it might be. But you have to, the medicine wheel and its initiation with that direct link to the spirit, with that direct connection that you ask for, it makes it a lived experience rather than just a knowledge experience. It's a lived experience. I mean, you actually live through, and you're experiencing it in your life as if it was like you were living the textbook. Literally, sometimes it's like, oh my God, my life has become a training manual. And literally I'm turning the next page the next day and the next lesson's there. My goodness, but it's where you really learn.
As you're talking, I'm getting this amazing kind of perception of life force belonging to everything. And, both the archetype of the pain story, the fear story, and the archetype of the serpent or the medicine wheel or the great spirits being like shapes through which life force energy can then flow. And then almost a bit like when a hose is, if you squeeze a hose and then suddenly there's like a force of the water going through. It's like these archetypes, whether they're your like total traumatized, I was bullied at school, or I have to protect the country story, or whether it's the archetype of the serpent or the hummingbird, or like they're just ways in which this universal life force energy can like flow through and direct.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's right? Like that's what's kind of coming as you're talking.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I think that's exactly right. It's like, one of those child toys with the holes with the shapes of certain sizes, and in some ways it's like, what do you want to receive? If we want to take it right back, what window are you looking through? Because really we're on the inside of that or looking out. So it's where, where our attention is, which window, which shape are we looking through is what we're going to receive, and a lot of the medicine wheel is about unlearning, looking through those wrong windows. Don't give your energy and time to those concepts. Spend your attention and energy looking through the window that's marked joy, for example. Or happiness.
That applies to the medicine wheel. But for somebody listening that isn't a shaman or doesn't want to be a shaman, but they're going, I have these thought forms that might mean I have an entity, or like, I want to look through the window of joy. Do they have to do the medicine wheel, or does it just apply?
No, I mean, it's, nobody's got a monopoly on wisdom. I personally believe wisdom is a part of the universe, like an intrinsic part of the universe. I think, you could, one day they'll be able to sort of pull wisdom out of the ether, if you like, and give you a chunk of it. I believe it's free. I think this information, this understanding is available to anybody. But the problem is giving yourself permission to embody it. I needed the wheel because it was all very well and good me knowing all of this stuff, and I did know all of this stuff. The medicine wheel, if you like, didn't teach me new things. It showed me concepts and helped me understand it in a new way. But what it gave me was genuine, real permission to embody it. So I don't think the wheel was, it has an exclusive right to it. But I think we have to accept realistically it's very difficult to reach this point all on your own. You need help. You need support. You need confirmation, validation, recognition, response, being responded to in that way as well. It was all very good, me walking around thinking, I'm a shaman. But if nobody ever asks me or talks to me or treats me like a shaman, what good's that going to be?
It's hard as well when Serpent takes you into those stories and points out that you're looking through the window of that mother wound, or that it is hot. Like, it is not easy to go there, even with support. I don't think you can go there without it.
Exactly. We're not meant to. We're not. If we were meant to, we'd be, ice beings that evolved on comets that travelled 25 light years from the nearest other object and spent eternities on our own contemplating darkness. We're social beings. We're like bees in a hive. We only have a real meaning collectively. Individually, although it's amazing being individual, we're not really that relevant. We're not. It's only as a collective that we become truly meaningful. It's only really as a tribe that the shaman has a purpose. Yeah. That's what shamans were for people. They spend an awful lot of time in nature and quite as much as they possibly can ignoring people, but that's just so that they can be present, truly present for them when they need it to be. Yeah. And that's it. We're all here for each other at the end of the day, trying to get through a very, very complicated and confusing world story, as best as we can, and that's all we've got is as best we can, no matter what, we can talk and share and it's brilliant, but as long as we've got as best we can, it doesn't really matter how close we get to working perfectly with our life force energy, or if we've got an entity in here or there now and then, and every now, even if that entity sometimes takes the better of us and we end up being a bit, oh God, not very nice to somebody who probably didn't deserve it. As long as we are as best we can, yeah, we're going to get all the love, compassion, the support from the universe that it can possibly allow us to receive, So, I always come back to that, with all the things, it's as best we can. And as long as you're doing as best you can, you're giving everything that the universe is asking of you, even if it's a bit crap sometimes.
But that acknowledgement, and I love that as best we can, because I think that that's one of the things that can be a real sucker of people's life force and be a hotbed of things that entities can attach to, is that we think that we have to be a certain way and everything's got to be perfect. And God, as best you can is really beautiful. That's a great way to live life, as best you can. Like, there's something freeing in that. There's something actually quite energizing in that and super positive, because if we're all just doing the best that we can, that is all we can ever ask for, because we can't change anybody else around us but ourselves. But if we all have that little mantra in the back of our minds, I bloody love that, Gareth. I think that's great. That's made me feel very energized this evening.
Yeah, for me, it's what keeps me going. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
As best I can keeps me going, because if it was anything else, I tried living to other things and it was exhausting and incredibly stressful and just sort of basically drove me into the ground. I'm the best. I'm going to be the best. Yeah, that was a long time. That was me. I'm going to be the best, no matter what the cost and how much I sacrifice, and even if it drains me of everything,
Well,
and
it's ego, isn't it?
I was never good enough anyway, and the universe spent a long time showing me people that I was so amazing. Do you know what I mean? There was no chance. I was like, who am I kidding? I'm never going to be as good as them, ever, and the universe went, yeah, and that's fine. You don't want you to be as good as them. Yeah. And they want you to be as good as you, because there's only one. And that's what counts, and then that is really where as best I can came from. was as a recognition. It's also, I use it as an indemnity with my students as well, in case I ever hideously screw up in some way. You know, I'm like, oh, well, I did as best I can. You know, sorry, accidentally completely re-traumatized you. Oops, oh well, best I can. I did as best I could there, you know, and, you know, it's true, you know, I mean, and why shouldn't we be honest with ourselves and say that's what we've got? Because that is all we've got, you know, and also be honest with ourselves and say, well, I didn't meet that particular thing with that as best I can. So
Yeah.
probably don't want to start blaming other people for the fact that it didn't go well, you know, because they weren't
I
tackling
feel
it as
like
best I
this
can.
I feel like this is a really important medicine for something that I wanted us to come back to just because we touched on it and it feels so important, is this protectiveness that is then incited to protect countries and then becomes blame, and you know, that distortion that you were talking about, that is like the misuse of the human nature to protect what we hold dear and hold close. And then I think this element of competition is added in, and essentially you get towards fascism then, of like, we're going to be the best at protecting our country and our nation or whatever we stand for. And I'm just wondering, in terms of like, is as best we can enough medicine for that? Is there any other medicine for that, for anybody that's like, because I know a lot of people are really feeling that distortion right now on a collective level, and it's like, what would you say is the best thing or the best we can to shift that distortion from our little place in the world?
I think practically, yeah, it's surrounding yourself with as much life as possible.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, you know, in whatever way you can, however much you can, as often and as big as you can. Yeah, you know, connect to life. Yeah, the trees, nature, plants, fish, birds. Yeah, connect to the life around you. Connect to the people around you. Yeah, it reminds you of the truth. The truth is there. Really straightforwardly. First thing we teach our shamans: don't trust what human beings say. Go out and listen to nature. Nature's going to tell you the truth every single time. Nature will never lie. You know, human beings full of crap. Yeah, nature, the truth every time. If you surround yourself in life, you will always be reminded of the truth. Yeah. And the truth is that life is doing the best it can to survive in what it's got and what's given.
And nature doesn't really protect the big picture, actually. Nature protects its immediate very well. Well, not always very well, but nature will look after its immediate or its territory. But you never see nature worrying about what's going on in another country, or you never see nature doing the big
No,
picture,
you know,
which
because
is
it
interesting.
recognizes it's already dealing with it. It knows instinctively, because that part of nature's taken responsibility for itself over there. Just as this part of nature's taking responsibility for itself here. And everything all together taking responsibility for themselves is what deals with the macro problem. As you said exactly, you know, it doesn't need to worry about what's going on in Borneo. The whole system is each individual thing taking its best responsibility as best it can.
Doing its best.
Doing its best. Yeah, not being perfect, you know, not getting it right every time, but doing its best it can, you know. And it's from that that all the great diversity of life existed in the first place. It was life doing as best it can that created us. You know, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, there's like millions of things that aren't right about the human body. If you were going to redesign it from scratch, you'd do it completely differently. You know, you'd do something about knees for a start. But nature couldn't do that. Nature just worked with what it had as best it could and made the best adaptation it could with what it had there at the time and what was possible and just kept going. You know, and we should give ourselves a bit of a break on that one. You know, we are very good at like hitting ourselves over the head as a species and saying, oh, we're shit, oh, we're terrible, oh, we're horrible beings. Yeah, we are. Yeah, but we're trying the best we freaking can.
Every time you say can, I feel full of life force energy, like Fiona said. It's like that is where the life force level is like, yeah, I can work with this. When you're trying to be the best, the life force level ain't hitting it. And when you're hitting yourself, the life force level is not there. And it's just like when you're like, as best we can, even every time you say it, I'm feeling this like, woo, full body life force level.
It's permission. It's permission
like that's where
to
the life force
actually
level
be yourself as much as you want to be. You know, and the only person you have to answer to about that is you, because nobody else knows what as best you can really is. You know, I mean, in some ways we can say we don't even know what the best we can is, you know, but it's an internal process. You know, it's us. It's just us and ourselves that we're talking with and engaging with on that conversation. You know, what is as best I can, you know, and the thing is as well, it doesn't mean that means the best that could be I conceived. Okay. Yeah. Because I can imagine myself being a lot better than I am. You know, that's not the point. It's what's achieved is as best I can. Okay. So the fact that, yeah, I didn't sort all my tax bills out this morning. Yeah. Even though maybe I should have done, you know, maybe, you know, I could sit there and go, oh, I'm such a bad person, or I haven't done my tax return. But that's because I couldn't. Yeah. I've done as best I can. You know, just thinking about it was as best as I could get right now. Okay. You know, I did as best I could there. I thought about putting my tax return in and I went, oh, God, no, I want a cup of coffee instead. You know, that's okay. Did the best I can. Doesn't change that responsibility still there, you know, but I'm not beating myself up over it, you know. And one day the life force will be with me very soon. It's going to be, you know, and I will do it, you know, I will get it done. But until then, the fact that I'm not doing it doesn't make me a bad person. You know, as best I can will be done as best I can. You know, and if it ain't, well, I'll take the responsibility for that too.
I was going to say, as best we can, we're going to have to wrap up this conversation to come in under our time, which always disappears in a flash. I say every time we could talk for days, but we sadly have to, as best we can, come in under our time. But Gareth, honestly, you have rejuvenated me in my evening in Australia, and what a fantastic mantra that I know people are just going to be hanging on to that and repeating it when they listen to this episode, because it is life force giving what you shared today. And I know we only touched the surface of what we could talk about. So we'll need to have you back and join us again at some point, not early morning. We promise.
And on the Life Force Cafe. Come to the Life Force Cafe and please.
Yes, I would love one. That would be very nice. A Life Force latte.
Life Force latte.
Yeah, when we make
latte.
Yeah, we do call them life juices here, I have to say. In the morning, it's like, I need a life juice. Oh, give me my coffee.
Cool coffee life juice. I love that. I'm going to call coffee life juice from now on. That's amazing.
What, in the mornings when I've got a full day of clients, it really freaking is, I tell you. I'm like, give me those beans, man. Thank you so much. I've had such a lovely time. It's been great. I've really enjoyed myself.
Yeah. It's been awesome. And Karila, over to you for the final question.
Last question is, who should we speak to next?
Oh, okay. What can I suggest? Like anybody?
Anyone you
It's just, that's alive, unless you want to channel somebody dead for us.
No. Okay.
I mean, that could
Oh gosh, I tell you, it's like I wasn't expecting this. Okay, I've got. Well, obviously there's. Yeah, I tell you what, I keep popping in my mind. I think it would be one of our students on Mental Mill is insanely talented. Okay, incredibly knowledgeable. Insane appetite for learning and knows so many amazing, weird and wonderful things about shamanism and odd, weird stuff. Yeah, his name's Luke Mason. Yeah, and he really is an incredible man. Very young. He's only in his 20s. So, which would be another amazing thing as well. Talk about, I discovered shamanism in my 30s. This guy is like 21. God.
Yeah.
How did he get there? From there to where he is now?
Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, talk to Luke. I think you'll find it very interesting.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gareth. You are so life-giving. You bring so much life force to everything you do.
Thanks, everybody. So, Karila, Gareth, thank you for introducing us all to the fabulous Gareth.
Gareth is just one of the most amazing people I have ever met. He's amazing.
And yet again, I got the sense that we covered just a fraction of what we could have talked to him about. But I think we both agreed, and anybody that has listened today, I hope you did too, that as soon as he said, and I'm going to just make sure I get it right, as best we can, I was like, yes, that feels so life force giving, as best we can. What a brilliant way to think about life.
And so freeing. Like, it's just freedom from that need to be the best.
There's letting go of ego. There's letting go of judgment. There was a lot wrapped up in those simple, 4 words. But I really felt that if we all just have that approach, then there's something really special to unlock in how we just go about our lives.
Absolutely. And then to think that something so simple came out of a conversation that in many ways was, really, I don't know if complex is the right word, but like that blueprint of the entities, and then understanding the like macrocosm problems and all of this, these really, we went on a big journey there through the wheel and all sorts of things. And we got to as best we can. It's just so wonderful.
Really beautiful, really beautiful. So, and so simple, and something that everybody can take into their day to day, which is what I love. And there's something we talk about a lot at the moment is that mindset, and the fact we can get caught in our grooves of thought patterns, and you just need something that can help you snap out of those. And the minute you do, you create new, more positive pathways. And I feel like Gareth's 4 special words are a way that we can use that in our day to day to snap out of our kind of negative stories. Very simple and very practical, and from a very, as you say, quite complex shamanic place. It's astounding.
Amazing. As best you can, may the life force be with you.
We'll wrap up this episode. It's been quite challenging, guys. We're in Mercury retrograde and we've had a few technical issues. So thanks for joining us as always. Till the next time.
May the life force be with you. We hope this conversation has topped up your life force energy. If it has, then please help us spread the life force. like, share, subscribe, all of that. And may the life force be with all of us.